Hey, John Cowan here. There's no question I've got a news flash for you. This is a historic week for our country. Yes, we have an election tomorrow. Am I going to talk about politics? No, I'm really not. What I do want to talk about, though, is the effect on real estate will be what? If the Republicans win, if the Democrats win, if nobody wins for some period of time. What could possibly have a factor to our real estate market? Historically, there have been a lot of studies indicating if an incumbent president wins or party wins, if the new party comes in, all of these various factors that the academia people study to try to determine what happens to our economy with a major election. This is probably one of the most critical elections our country has ever faced. So a lot of people are thinking it's going to have a huge effect one way or the other. I don't feel that way, and I'm going to tell you why. So first off, I think all those studies are out the window because of COVID-19, a pandemic in our world. That has messed up everybody's forecast if they want to look back into history, because we've never dealt with this. So I'm going to set the results of the election aside. I'm going to set the pandemic aside because I'm not an expert on either side of those factors. What I am proficient with is talking about real estate. So I want to talk to you about what I call the real factors. This is what we need to look at regardless of the results of the election. Are we still going to face a low housing inventory in this country? Yes, we will. People aren't going to disappear, and their needs aren't going to be affected by who is sitting in the White House. Basically, it's not going to have an effect on what their needs are for housing. We have a balance in our industry that we look at across our country. We want to see 6 months of housing inventory in our given neighborhood. That's called a balanced real estate market, where realtors have no bearing whether they're working with a buyer or a seller. Both have equal opportunity in a balanced market. There are plenty of houses to look at. No one is saying it's a seller's market, it's a buyer's market in a 6 month of inventory scenario. We haven't been 6 months of inventory for almost a decade. We have had a housing shortage, and it will continue. Today, we are sitting at approximately 2.5 months of inventory, and that is less than half of what we consider a balanced market. So yes, there's still a seller advantage. We are down 35% in inventory for houses to sell from this time last year. Is the election going to change that? No, it is not. It's also not going to change our mortgage rates. We are going to enjoy low mortgage interest rates for the foreseeable future. Will they vary up and down? Yes, they will, but not dramatically. Let's talk about drama. We are going to average this year in the neighborhood of 3% for a mortgage loan of 30 years for the average homeowner. In the last 2 years, we have averaged 4.5%. But going back into history, we've experienced 18, 19%. We've experienced averages over the last almost 50 years of greater than 6.5%. We are going to enjoy low interest rates for a while yet. 15% of homeowners have refinanced their mortgages this year. That's a factor, and the reason I'm bringing it up is that took houses off the market, inventory off our market. Some of those people were considering selling. 10% of homeowners across our country have reported that children and or another family member have moved back into the house or moved in with them. Folks, that's a big deal. That now has created a circumstance where maybe they need more room, a different type of layout, a bedroom downstairs for an elderly parent, whatever it might be. Another factor, buyers are going to continue to struggle, it's part of history, to come up with a down payment to purchase a home. You're going to hear repetitively and see, if you go Google and everything else, they talk about a 20% down payment. Folks, I'm so big on all the options and factors that are out there that people don't talk about. You can get a mortgage with 0% down if you qualify for that particular type of mortgage. As an average, I will tell you, most of my clients over the years have put in the neighborhood of 3 to 5% down, okay? That is more the average of what a typical FHA or conventional mortgage would be, and that's most of the people out there. Sellers are going to want to get the best price they can for their house. They're going to want to try to time the market and see if they can find a way to capitalize off this seller market. Those are what I call the real factors. Let's talk about the real numbers. Renters, if you are one, you are paying 30 to 33% of your income for housing. How do I know this? Number one, there's national studies I can look at. I qualify people for lease, and I use a factor of their income needs to be at least 3 times what their rent payment would be. So if you want to rent a house for $1,200, I need to see that you have $3,600 in income to qualify for that $1,200 rent. So mortgage rates in 2020 have reduced the average payment by almost $300 a month. What do I mean by that? Last year, if our interest rates were in the 4 to 4.5% range, before that, we were in the 5% range. We've been as high as 6% several years ago. So today's interest rates have dropped the average house payment by $300 per month. Folks, that is huge. And I don't expect it to completely go away, having that opportunity for a while. Homeowners, conversely to renters, are paying 28 to 33% of their household income for housing. So what's the advantage? The advantage is if you're renting, you're paying more or at least the same as a homeowner for the percentage of income that you have. So why would you want to continue to pay the mortgage on my rental properties, the maintenance cost on my houses, and all of those costs associated when a landlord tells you how much the rent is? If you could apply that same amount of money to your own mortgage for your own home, that's what I think is important, folks. How to maximize what your capabilities are. Will the 2020 election change the real factors and the real numbers? Real estate's always worked in cycles. Some are going to believe that it's going to go up still. Some believe it could start dropping housing values, the activity. My opinion, we've always had drastic, or we will not have any drastic changes to our real estate market. That's my opinion. We will continue to see values climb, and I don't expect to see any of that drop. The reason is because of the supply and demand and low mortgage rate factors. As long as those continue, that's what is going to drive our market. So what's more important for you is what is the change that you may look at in the coming year or two. That's an important factor for you, and that's where I come in. I'm John Cowan with Ultra Realty. I'm here for you. Call me, go to my website, look at some of my YouTube videos. Let me answer your questions for you. Don't let this election make you think that you can't buy or you can't sell. Look at the real factors. Talk to a professional. I'm here for you. Thank you.